Hey everybody, this is Target Man. I'm doing this video for a few reasons. It's been a very difficult time for me, and that's related to a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons these times have been challenging is because, well, due my profession, my current profession, which is trading, and the problem was I thought of myself as a day trader. The truth is, I'm not a day trader. So essentially, I'm going to talk about my trading journey. And the thing is, I picked this company here before this came out, and I bought a number of their stock and basically was able to sell them uh, during the life cycle of that console and made back probably the amount of money I spent all my life in video games, which was roughly around $10,000. So that was pretty good. And then I also picked this company, and I was thinking, to buy their stock before this came out, the very first one. So that's another company. Another one that comes to mind is this one. And this company I was picking to buy their shares. I think they were around $20, $20 to $40, something like that price range, way back when. And the reason I was wanting to buy this stock is because this company is going out of business. And I did buy some shares of said stock, this one here, but I sold it pretty low. I only maybe made, well, I didn't make too much profit. I mean, it did make a profit, but not a hefty one. So, lesson learned there. But the reason I'm doing this video is because all those picks that I made, I give thanks to God, first of all, for giving me those instincts. It doesn't come from me, but He gives me that intuition. It's one thing to be able to be a good pick man, you can pick the right stocks. It's another thing to be time man, to be a patient man, meaning you need to identify, are you a day trader or are you a long-term trader? Are you a short-term trader or a long-term trader? In my honest opinion, if you're going to do stock trading, day trading is very risky because it can burn you. It can really burn you because from day to day, things are so unpredictable. A chart like this, for example, this is an annual chart, not even a daily chart or a monthly chart, but things can go very, can change very badly, very quickly in one day. Uh, but in a week's time, it's a little more predictable, I find. In a month's time, it's even more predictable. And the longer you go, if you expand a chart from a day to a week and then to a month and then to a year, you'll see that it's a little more predictable the more big picture you get. But if you're looking at the small picture, it's harder to see where things would go, and it's a lot less, it's more unpredictable and less predictable. So the reason I'm making this video, number one, is just to teach the lessons, teach you the lessons that I've learned through hard knocks, through uh, making $10,000 in a day to losing $10,000 the very next day, literally. More recently, uh, I was able to, through God's help, make, I think it was 20,000 in roughly a week or more, and then lost the same amount, maybe even more, I think 30,000 in the same week or 2 weeks. So it's very humbling and it's a very humbling reminder, a very humbling lesson, a very apt lesson that if you don't learn the lessons, you're going to repeat the mistakes. So that's the reason I'm doing this video. And you know what? I want to make this a short video, but this is probably going to get to 30 minutes because these are lessons that I've learned throughout the course of my life in stock trading. And you know what? I used to be an emotional trader, and a lot of trading, I have to admit, is emotional. A lot of trading is emotional. You can't avoid, we cannot avoid being emotional creatures, but as much as possible, we need to stick to our targets. I mean, target prices. So, for example, let's just take a stock, one that I am constantly following, uh, is CODX. So let's look at this. I'll open it in Google because they just have a better stock tracking chart compared to the other search engines. So we look at this stock, and as of today, this is not a stock you want to be buying, or is it? If you look at the 5-day, well, yeah, it's at a low point. If you look at the month, it's at a low point. This is a very high opportunity to buy. 6 months, you can see this is a prime opportunity to buy. If you're going to buy this stock, it's today. It is today. If we're looking at the 1-year chart, well, obviously this company is very much in the COVID sweepstakes. Not, I wouldn't say it's in the sweepstakes because it's already proven itself to be a company that knows what it's doing and has proven effective products. It's not a speculative stock. So I'm not going to look at the 1 year because the stock market, quite frankly, has transformed since March 13th, since the WHO declared this global pandemic. So I'm going to say from the time that this stock went up, so around January, February to March, that's when the whole stock market, I believe, changed, including what I used to avoid was biotech companies. That has become somewhat of a gold mine, a gold rush. So we're only going to look at the 6-month charts when it comes to these biotech companies because COVID-19 is just the biggest thing on the world scene. So if you look at this stock, I bought this stock back in February, and I bought it around $3 to $4. And initially, I had bought a significant amount of shares, over 5,000 shares. But the problem was, it's not a problem, but the situation was that I sold at $12 over right about here, right about that point. Now instead of being more patient, but $12 is still a good amount because it did drop not too soon after, not too long after. So let's look at the 6-month chart. So you can see I bought it over here, and then I sold it around there. Planning to buy it again, but I bought again at a high price, I think $13, which was a mistake because, again, I was emotion man. I was emotional man, not target MAGA man or target, let's just say target MAGA man. You're making yourself great again. And we have to stand out from the crowd. I don't just mean be loud and obnoxious or wear something unique and eye-catching. No, I mean in terms of trading, because what's big is fear of missing out. What's big is what's big today. It's like pop culture. Whoever is on the cover of the magazines, whoever gets the Oscar, whoever gets the Grammy, whoever gets all the attention, they're top dog, and then everyone, supports them, buys into their stock. Essentially, that's what it is. Their stock goes up, and that's not the way to trade. That is not the way you trade. You trade when people are running away, just as Warren Buffett said. And it's very true. When you see people running from a stock and they're afraid, that's when you buy. When they're selling, But when there's a lot of greed and a lot of bloating and a lot of people buying in, fear of missing out, that's when you sell, my, my friends. So the adage is very true. You buy low and you sell high. And people also told me, uh, my dad actually said, you buy the rumors and you sell the news. I mean, essentially, what that means is you buy uh, when you see people running away from it because rumors can bring a stock down. For example, a lawsuit, rumors about. I mean, you have to do your research because sometimes a lawsuit and bankruptcy will end up in you losing your money. But you have to do your research and say, is this just a hit job? Is this website doing this just to bring the stock down, manipulate it so they can buy it at a low price and then resell it? And a lot of times you'll find that, yeah, that's exactly what's happening, especially a company that has a good reputation and has been around a long time, like let's just say Apple, for instance, or McDonald's, or Walmart, or Netflix. I wouldn't say they've been around a long time, but they've been around a good enough time that that they won't just fold and tomorrow they won't exist. It's not a pump and dump kind of thing. So uh, we're going to talk about support and resistance. We're going to talk about setting your targets. We're going to talk about how to be successful. I'm not going to say rich, but how to be successful in this trading game. Now, again, I have to reiterate, probably rule number one is day trading. Is that the way to go? Or is it long-term trading? A long-term trader. Is that how you're supposed to do? And I can tell you, the best way to trade is not a daily basis. It's not obsessing about and watching it hourly, unless you're looking to buy at a low price or sell at a really high price. You got to set your targets. That's the way you do it. Long-term investing, okay. So that's what it's about. Is long-term investing. All the big money that I made is all due to God, but it's knowing not just what stocks to pick, because that's why I opened this video. Is how do you pick the stocks? Well, sometimes you just have to have your pulse on pop culture and society and the zeitgeist of things. So you don't do quick buy and sell trades because long-term investing is that's a higher that's a higher rewards, and it's also high risk. But day trading is higher risk. It's just higher unpredictability. So what am I trying to say right now is let's look at this chart. So you can pick stocks. Like this stock is a really good stock. I'd say, compared to the ones I mentioned earlier, Nintendo, Apple, Netflix, this is up there. And I forgot to mention another one, but Beyond Meat was one I bought. And I bought it around $70 and then eventually sold it. I think it was around 120. I can't remember right now. But anyhow, I mean, that's how you're supposed to do it. But if I was doing day trading, for instance, if I bought Beyond Meat at $70 and I ended up selling it at 90, I would be kicking myself, rather than just waiting and saying, okay, you know what, 120, that's a good price. And you look at this chart. Let's just look at this chart, the CODX. So say you bought it. We're looking at support and resistance. So you got to look at the jumps, right? Where's your base? Where do you see it? The support levels, and this is a really good support level there. If I would look at CODX, a good support level is right here. You can see it's at least at 11. But to be honest, it's probably closer to $16. Because if you look at the monthly chart, It's a lot closer to 16, and the resistance is roughly around $29, $30. But this stock has a lot of room to grow. So like I said earlier, it's good to be a pick man. That's the number one thing, is to know the right companies to buy into. You're not just gonna buy some company that just showed up one day and is pretending like they know what they're doing. You want a company with a proven track record, or at least you did your research to say, hey, this company knows what they're doing. So that's why I'm buying into this stock. So the second most important thing, besides picking, is setting your targets. Is target, not being pick man only. That's number one rule. Number two is to be a target man. You set your targets. You set your price targets. So and you stick with it. You don't change them over time. Because if you do that, you're just defeating the purpose of being a productive, being successful at this. So, for instance, you see the stock CODX, I bought some today below $16. Now, what you'd want to do, for instance, in this stock is, yes, you'd buy at, let's say you bought at $11, $12 or $16. That's your buy target. So let's say if we look at this chart, and let's just say we're only up to this point. Let's rewind a few days. Let's go back to Monday, okay? So you can't see anything past this arrow on the right of it. All you can see is this. You would say, hey, you know what, this could go up or it could go down, but it's so unpredictable sometimes. But if you don't set your targets, you'd probably buy at 25, or you'd probably buy at 23, or you'd probably buy here because you'd say, hey, that's pretty low. And you'd be right, it is low, but hey, look, it dropped more. Who would have thought? But if you set your targets, because my target was actually 16, 17, then you'd buy at that price. You wouldn't buy when it was starting to go down. Because I studied this chart kind of, not obsessively, but pretty frequently. And I knew before this spike hit, the low point was 16 to 17, no lower than 15, because you can see support is pretty much 15, 14, 15. Actually, let's see, a strong 15. So you buy there, you'd set your target for that buy price, and then you'd set your target to sell, which is looking like a solid 30, to be honest. That's strong resistance. Look how fast it just dropped. Here, that's a strong resistance, 23, but that's no longer the peak because it was trading around that level for a good week, almost 2 weeks, really. So there's a lot of optimism there, but it was only a matter of time before this started to correct itself. So that's number two most important principle is to be a patient man. Now, let me just pause the video for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to title this video as 4 Rules to Trading, to Successful Trading. Number one actually would be to be a patient man. You can't trade if you aren't patient. You have to learn patience, and that'll either come over time. It's better to go in as a patient man, but you really have to not be afraid to stand out from the crowd. And that means being a patient man, not being an emotion man, but being a patient man. And a lot of these 4 rules, descriptors, are very much anti-emotional in a way. So, yes, you want to be a patient man. That's number one rule, is to be a patient man. Because without patience, you won't be able to do this successfully. Because you will say, you know what, I'm going to day trade. I don't think day trading is a patient man game. That's my own opinion. I think a patient man waits longer than 24 hours, waits longer than 48 hours. It's longer than 72 hours. At least a week. Would wait. 2 weeks, that's even better. A month, good. But I don't want to make this about just, you know, setting a target and just waiting a long time. It's about setting your target. So if I do set my target and say, you know, say with CODX, I set a target for $16. So I bought it at 16, and my target sell price is 30. Then you know what? If it hits 30 tomorrow, that's my sell price. So you set the order to buy, to sell at whatever numbers you like. And if it meets it, then that's not out of your control. You just check it and you see that, hey, money's in my account. So your patience paid off in that way. So that's probably number one, is to be patient. Number two is to be a pickman, to know uh, the stocks to pick. Actually, number one really is to be humble. You can't really do any of this without being humble and knowing where all these things come from, which is God. God gives us everything, our own lives, our ability to think, our ability to speak, our ability to make wealth. So, I think that's number one, is to be a humble man. And number two is to be a patient man. Number three would be to be a pick man. So you know what stocks to pick. And some people have it, some people don't. So for instance, one stock I would definitely pick if I had all the money in the world, it would be Tesla right now. But it's such an expensive stock, and that's why they're doing that stock split coming up, I believe in the 21st of August. And they're going to have a split of 1 to 5. So that's a great stock to buy. But my target for that stock is kind of up and down, because that stock seems to only go up. No, it does go down. Let's just look at Tesla before I get too ahead of myself. But let's look at Tesla and see what the target would be for that, because that stock moves around like a roller coaster. So if we look at today, you would probably say my buy price is 1630, but not. You're probably better off waiting a bit longer. Just look at the last. My buy price is actually 1400, 1300, 1400. Look, it really did go up at 1300. That was my buy price, 1400. Now it's out of my range, because my sell price was actually more like 2000, because this company is just taking off like gangbangers right now. So that's Tesla. That's a really good stock to buy. Although the automotive market is somewhat unpredictable. Although Tesla's, I think it's the brand, the name power, the brand power is just so strong that it's hard to topple that unless there is, everything just exploded tomorrow. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this before I end this video. I don't want to make it too long, but yeah, you have to be able to pick your stocks, the right ones. And last rule is to set your targets and stick with them. These lessons go a very long way to being successful. In fact, before this video was made, I've been breaking all these rules. To be honest, I wasn't humble, because you put money before God sometimes. You obsess over a stock and say, you know what, if my portfolio was only $1 million, I'll be happy, or $1 billion, I'll be happy. But happiness isn't the destination. It really is the journey. It's learning through the ups and downs. And that's probably the most profound lesson I've learned. And that's why I'm making this video, because such a great lesson in life is to be humble. And whether that's your stock is soaring and you've made $1 million in a day, you gotta be humble, man. You gotta think this could be gone tomorrow. And where does this come from anyway? God gives me everything. Or uh, if stock goes down, you lose $1 million. You gotta be humble and say, you know what? I still have my life. You know, life isn't over yet. I can still make something out of life as long as I'm still alive. So that's an important rule. And then being patient is so important, so vitally important if you're gonna be successful in this kind of career, this kind of direction of long-term investing, long-term trading, I call it. You gotta be patient. I know some people can't afford to wait, but if you want to be successful, you're gonna have to. You're going to have to. Otherwise, don't get into it at all. You're gonna have to make your picks. You're gonna have to pick the right stocks. Do your research. Don't. And when you pick a stock, and let's say you put in imaginary money into a stock, you gotta follow that stock every day. The numbers and the news. Not just technical analysis, but you're looking at the market analysis. You're looking at everything that's going on. That's not just numbers, not just charts. You gotta do your due diligence. You gotta do your research. You gotta do your homework. You gotta work hard at it. I'm not saying check the chart every 10 minutes, every hour, every 6 hours, but you should at least check it once a day. The charts and the news on the stocks that you already bought. If you're truly serious about it, if you really want to be successful at it, at least once a day, just to keep abreast of the latest updates. Because before you know it, let's say tomorrow Tesla announces bankruptcy, you gotta sell those shares immediately. Don't wait around and then lose all your money the next day. So that's very, very important. And Target Man is so important too, because it's probably all of these are very, very vitally important. I can't say one is more important than the other, because if I take out, let's say I'm humble and I'm patient, but I take out Pigman, then you know what? My stock is still gonna fail. If I'm all of these, I pick the right stock, I'm patient, I'm humble, but I don't set my targets. I don't know. I have no vision. I have no goal as to where's the stock going. Yeah, I'm patient. I'll wait a year, but I didn't set my target, so I'm just gonna be tossed by emotion, tossed by whatever the market is showing me. No, you gotta set your targets. And yeah, I understand targets are set by the market and through resistance, through support, but you gotta be able to identify where is my support, where is my resistance. And you're looking at least monthly, not weekly. And say I can pick the right one and I'm setting my targets, but if I'm not patient, I'm going to change my buy order or my sell order and say, you know what, screw my target. Or if I have all these and I'm not humble, God will take it away. That's an X factor that God will say, you know what, I've seen what wealth will do to you. It's going to make you a worse person. You're not going to be better off with the wealth. Or he'll give it to you and say, you know what, this will be a test to you. Let's see where you go with this. And then all 2 and 3 and 4, and you don't pick the right stock, you can set your targets, be patient and humble, but still you didn't pick the right stock because you didn't do your homework and say, hey, this stock just showed up yesterday and they're saying they have the cure for cancer. But we all know that there isn't a pharmaceutical cure for cancer. It's more of, natural based, something that is just based on food, based on healthy living, based on common sense principles. Although there are some aggressive forms of cancer that maybe you can't use that kind of treatment method, but still. So these are my 4 rules to trading. I hope this is helpful to you. And if if you follow these rules, I'm not saying I guarantee you'll be successful, but you have at least a 90% chance of being successful. And if I had a 90% chance of winning the lottery, I'd be playing every day. So that's my presentation. I started my portfolio today under Target Man uh, because, you know, I've been humbled by losing the amount of money I did. I've been humbled by the gains that God provided me as well. I've learned to be patient through losing. I've learned to be humble through losing. I've learned to be a pick man because in this age of coronavirus stocks, you got to pick your stocks very carefully. You can't just buy into every stock that comes out of the bushes. Some companies are malevolent, or not malevolent, they're malicious. They're opportunity seekers. They just want to cash in. They're not about helping people. They just want to help themselves. And I learned to set my targets because, again, trading can be emotionally volatile. And the important thing, just as Warren Buffett said, his principle is so vitally important too. And his principles, I said, are very much an extension of what he said, is to buy low and sell high. Is when you see people running, that's when you buy. When you see people greedy and just like ravens and crows at the corpse, that's when you run. And this can be extended to life lessons as well, because let's say, let's just say that you are you're at a low point in your life, and this past year so far has been very challenging for a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of people can say, you know, this has been a low point in my life, in my existence, in my experience of living on this planet, my career, socially, emotionally, mentally, physically, everything. There's a low point. You know what you should be doing is invest in God, invest in your faith, and invest in something that means something. Invest in meaning, and invest in substance, invest in self-improvement, invest in helping people. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this video, to help people. Yes, it's advice for me, but it's a reminder for me. It's also advice for others who want to get into trading, because the reality is a lot of people are losing their actual careers. And I have lost my career, my main career, and this has become my main career now, is trading, due to the circumstances we are faced with. So that's an important thing. You, at the low point in life, you invest in God, and at the high points of life, you give back. So when I'm all successful and have a family and kids and all these things, and I've achieved my goals, it's important to give back to God, to give back to people, and say, you know what, God has blessed me so much, I'm going to give back. He's given to me so I can give back to others, not just so I can take and take some more. He'll give you some more if you give back. That's the irony of it all. And the other irony of it all is when you're at your low point and you give yourself away to God, you submit to Him, you're humble, He will give to you. That's the irony of it all. When life takes away at you and you feel very low, you're at your lowest point, you need to give yourself to God. When you're at a low point, you give. You invest in God. That's when you buy low. Buy into God when you're low. But you don't sell God when you're at the high point. You sell yourself. You sell your ego. You sell your arrogance, your greed. That's probably the lesson I've learned in the last, since I started trading, and that was really 2007, 2008 when the Nintendo Wii came out. So it's been 12 years of trading, and that roughly coincides with my hockey career as well. And I've learned so many lessons from that too. And I can use those in life as well, and in trading. And probably the biggest lesson in goaltending in hockey is to never give up. Even if you get scored on 20 times, and that's happened to me, you don't give up. You play that next shot like it's scoreless, essentially. And this is a brand new slate. You have a blank page to work with. And you know what? As long as I'm on the ice, as long as I'm still the main goalie, I'm the guy between the pipes, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to save every shot like it's my last. And like it's the first shot as well. Like you're trying to build momentum, essentially. That's what you're trying to do as a goalie. You're a momentum changer, momentum shifter. So you got to learn to always keep trying and never give up, and to work hard at it and always improve. So this is my video for this 4 rules to long-term stock trading, or to successful stock trading. Thank you very much for your time. God bless you, and just take these lessons to heart, and not just memorize them, because I mean it's an important thing to memorize these 4 rules. And number 1 is really to be humble. Number 2 is to be patient. Number 3 is to be a pick man. And the last one is to be a target man. And the results will speak for themselves. God will reward you for doing your work. I'll check back with you, not in a day, not in a week, but in a month. So I'll make another video in a month's time, around September the 14th-ish. And thank you again for your time. And as they say in the trading world, if I can open it right here, let's just look it up. It's a common saying in the stock trading world is GLTA. Good luck to all. Now, I don't tell you good luck because I don't believe in luck, but may God be with you all. So, may God be with you all. NG Bawa. And make yourself great again. Be a mega man. Be a target mega man. You look at a lot of investors. You look at Donald Trump. You look at Warren Buffett. These people are not emotional investors. You can bet that they are very much, although people may not want to admit, they are humble in some ways. They're very patient. They know what they're buying into, and they set their targets. They have a vision. They have goals in mind. So that's all I have to present for today. I'll see you next month. This is Jack Knight for 4 rules to successful trading. Till next month.